If you knew that one sentence, just one, could make her heart race and her memory hold on to you forever, would you still waste time with weak lines like "you're hot" or "nice dress"? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our channel. Most men have no clue how powerful their words are. They think attraction is all about looks, money, or status. But the truth, the way you make her feel, is what really sets you apart. And here's the game changer. One of the most underrated weapons you have. A well-placed compliment. Think about it. Have you ever seen a woman's entire energy shift just because of something a man said? One sentence delivered the right way can change the way she sees you. Not for a moment, but forever. Today, I'm breaking down 8 powerful compliments that go beyond surface-level flattery. These aren't weak, try-hard lines that make you look desperate. These are deep psychological compliments that trigger something primal in her mind, making her feel truly seen, respected, and drawn to you on a deeper level. And here's the brutal truth. If you're out here throwing around generic compliments like confetti, "you look cute, nice outfit, you're hot," you're just another forgettable guy in her DMs. But if you understand the Stoic approach to influence and attraction, the power of self-control, calculated words, and how you carry yourself, you'll realize the real power lies not in what you say, but how you say it and what your words make her feel. So if you're ready to elevate your game, stand out from every other guy, and leave a lasting impression, keep watching. But first, take a moment to subscribe if you're ready to transform how you handle relationships using the power of Stoicism. Every video is a step toward mastering your mindset and building stronger, more meaningful connections. Compliment 1. That fragrance you're wearing is addictive. It smells amazing. Let's start with something powerful. Fragrance. Most guys completely overlook this. But if you understand the deeper psychology behind attraction, you'll realize something game-changing. A woman's scent is one of the most powerful triggers for memory and desire. Think about it. How many times has a certain smell instantly taken you back to a specific moment? A summer night, a hug from someone you loved, a moment that felt frozen in time. That's because scent is directly linked to the brain's limbic system, the part responsible for emotion and memory. So when you compliment a woman's fragrance, you're not just saying, "you smell nice." You're saying your presence lingers in my mind even after you've walked away. And that's an intoxicating thought for any woman. But here's the brutal truth. Most guys don't pay attention to detail. They throw out shallow lines like, "you look nice," or "that dress is cute." But a man who notices how she smells, the energy her scent carries, and how it subtly affects him, that man stands out because he's present, he's attentive, and most importantly, he's different. And here's where Stoicism kicks in. A Stoic man understands that words have weight. He doesn't speak just to fill silence. He doesn't toss compliments around to gain attention. Every word he speaks is deliberate, intentional, and impactful. So when you say that fragrance you're wearing is addictive, say it with quiet confidence, not loud desperation. Say it like you mean it. Say it like a man who knows his worth and doesn't need to prove anything. And when you do, watch her entire body language shift. She'll remember that moment. Not just that day, but every time she sprays that perfume. That's not just chemistry. That's psychological attraction. Compliment number 2. Your smile could brighten up an entire room. Let's break this down because this one's powerful, and most guys completely miss the depth of it. A smile, it's not just a curve on her face. It's a vibe. It's a frequency. It's an energy that can shift the atmosphere the moment she walks in. When you tell a woman your smile could brighten up an entire room, you're not just complimenting her teeth or her lips. You're recognizing her presence. You're telling her that her energy has impact, that she can change the emotional climate of a space just by being in it. Think about it. Have you ever been in a room that felt heavy, stressed, anxious, disconnected, and then someone walks in with a genuine smile and suddenly things feel lighter? That's not just charm, that's power. And here's what separates the average guy from the emotionally intelligent man. The average guy focuses on looks. You look good. Nice smile. You're pretty. But a Stoic, observant man, he sees beyond that. He sees the effect that smile has on the world around her. Because that kind of smile, the one that makes people feel at ease, the one that feels like sunlight in a dark room, it's rare. And when you call it out, when you say you light up a room with your smile, you're telling her, "I don't just see how you look. I see what you bring to the space you're in." That's not just a compliment. That's a recognition of influence. Here's the cold, harsh truth. Most guys never even notice this. They get stuck on shallow compliments, too distracted by appearances to understand the energy a woman carries. But her smile, it's not just part of her beauty, it's part of her power. And when you see that, when you appreciate that, you're showing emotional intelligence that most men lack. Now, let's tie this to stoicism. A stoic man is aware of the energy he brings. He doesn't need to be the loudest in the room to be the strongest. He operates from presence, intention, and calm control. And when he speaks, when he gives a compliment, it lands deep. So, when you notice something as subtle but powerful as her smile and say it with sincerity, she'll feel seen. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to hear that their presence alone can change the room? A woman doesn't hear that every day. And that's exactly why it sticks. It's real, it's rare, and it's unforgettable. Compliment number 3. I love how real you are. You don't try to fit in. You're just you. Let's be brutally honest for a second. We live in a world full of filters, not just on social media, but in real life too. Everyone's wearing masks. Everyone's trying to fit in to be what others want them to be. But authenticity, that's revolutionary. Now, when you tell a woman, I love how real you are, you're not just giving her a pat on the back. You're validating one of the hardest, most courageous choices a person can make today. The choice to be unapologetically themselves. Think about that for a second. While the world rewards conformity and punishes honesty, she chooses to be real, raw, unfiltered, herself. That's not just attractive, that's magnetic. Because here's the truth, most people ignore. Women hear compliments about their looks all the time. You're beautiful. You're sexy. You're stunning. But when a man looks deeper, when he says, I admire your authenticity, that hits differently. You're not admiring the mask. You're admiring the soul. You're saying, I see who you really are, not who you pretend to be. And that's who I admire. Now let's get even deeper. Authenticity isn't always soft. It's not always polished. It can be messy, imperfect, and even controversial. But it's always real. And real will always be more powerful than perfect. And from a stoic perspective, this is gold. A stoic man values truth, not trend. He aligns with who he really is, not who the world tells him to be. And when he sees that same strength in someone else, he respects it. So when you give this compliment, you're not just being kind. You're being honest. You're saying you don't need to change a thing. The real you is more than enough. And trust me, in a world full of pretenders, that kind of recognition, it means everything. Compliment number 4. I love the way you see the world. It's so unique. It really makes me think. Let's face it, the world is filled with clones. People living on autopilot, repeating the same tired opinions, following the same routines, blending into a gray crowd of sameness. But every now and then, you meet someone different. Someone who doesn't just accept the world as it is. She questions it. She thinks deeply. She sees things differently. And that is magnetic. When you tell a woman, I love the way you see the world, you're not just throwing out a poetic line. You're recognizing her mind, her lens, her unique way of processing life. Not through what's popular, but through what's personal and meaningful. You're telling her, I value how your mind works. Your thoughts matter to me. Your view of the world inspires me. In a culture obsessed with filters, appearances, and groupthink, that kind of recognition is rare, and that's why it hits so hard. Here's the reality. Most guys only notice what's on her looks, her outfit, her vibe. But the moment you notice what's inside her, how she sees the world, how she interprets chaos, how she navigates meaning, you elevate the conversation from casual attraction to something profound. You let her know, I'm not just into how you look. I'm inspired by how you think. That changes everything because now she sees you not as just another guy who wants her, but as a man who's genuinely curious about her perspective, a man who's stimulated by her intellect. Now let's connect this to stoicism. The stoic man doesn't follow the crowd. He questions. He reflects. He values clarity of thought, depth of insight, and the courage to challenge what's accepted. So when you give her this compliment, you're aligning with that same principle. You're honoring her vision, her courage to think freely, her depth in a world full of shallow noise. And here's the best part. When you say, the way you see the world really makes me think. You're not just flattering her, you're inviting her to keep thinking aloud with you, to open up, to express more, to go deeper. You're creating emotional intimacy without even touching her because you're connecting where it matters most in the mind. And trust me, that's the kind of compliment that stays with her. Not just for a day, but for years. Because in a world where most men chase beauty, you chose to honor depth. And that, my friend, is the difference between being forgettable and being unshakably memorable. Compliment for 5. I love your energy. It's contagious. It makes me want to be the best version of myself. Let's talk about something most people don't understand. Energy is everything. You felt it. Those people who drain you the moment they walk into a room. You can't quite explain it, but something about their vibe is heavy, toxic, exhausting. And then there's the opposite. That person who lights up the space, who doesn't just enter the room, they elevate it. That's the woman you're talking about right now. When you tell her, your energy makes me want to be better, you're giving her one of the highest forms of recognition. You're saying, you inspire growth. You spark something in me. You make me want to rise, and that's more powerful than your hot will ever be. Here's the brutal truth. Life is short. And if you're serious about living fully, you can't afford to be around people who drain you. You need people who push you forward, who ignite your vision, who hold you accountable simply by the way they carry themselves. And when a woman brings that kind of light, that kind of electricity, you tell her loud and clear, from a Stoic perspective, this is vital. The Stoic man values growth. He surrounds himself with those who sharpen him, who challenge him, who force him out of comfort into excellence. So when you give her this compliment, you're not just admiring her mood, you're honoring her impact. She's not just fun to be around. She's someone who amplifies your potential. That's not flattery. That's deep respect. Because her presence doesn't just affect you emotionally. It changes your direction. So say it and mean it. I love your energy. It makes me want to be the best version of myself. Because when a woman hears that, she knows she's not just desired, she's admired. And that makes all the difference. Compliment thick. You're honestly one of the most thoughtful people I've ever met. You really care about others, and it shows. Let's get real. In a world full of loud self-promotion, fake personas, and performative kindness, genuine thoughtfulness is rare. Everyone's trying to look good, but few are truly good. So when you tell a woman, you're one of the most thoughtful people I've ever met, you're cutting through the noise and acknowledging something that most people overlook. You're not just complimenting what she does. You're complimenting who she is. You're noticing the little things, how she remembers details from past conversations, how she checks in when she doesn't have to, how she goes out of her way to make someone feel seen, heard, and valued. And that, my friend, is character. It's easy to be pretty. It's easy to be witty. But it's rare to be genuinely kind. Most guys are so focused on attraction, they miss what truly builds connection, integrity. Thoughtful people give, they nurture, they protect the energy in a room. They don't just take space, they hold it. And when you recognize that when you tell her it shows, you're saying, I see your heart. I see your effort. I see your goodness. That's a compliment that reaches her core. Now let's bring in the Stoic lens. The Stoics believed in virtue over vanity. They taught that character, not charm, is the foundation of a good life. So when you compliment her for being thoughtful, you're not just making her feel appreciated. You're aligning with the philosophy that says goodness is strength, empathy is wisdom, and real value comes from what we give, not what we take. You're not admiring what she shows the world. You're honoring what she gives to it. And trust me, she'll never forget the man who saw that in her. Compliment Duggar 7. I love how driven you are. Your sense of purpose is seriously inspiring. Let's talk about drive, the fire that separates those who coast from those who create. In today's world of shortcuts, distractions, and instant gratification, finding someone with real ambition is like discovering treasure. So when you say, I love how driven you are, you're not just hyping her up. You're admiring her mission. You're telling her, I see your hustle. I respect your late nights. I know what it costs to chase something bigger. That's not flattery. That's recognition. You're not just noticing her efforts. You're saying, I admire your mindset. And here's what makes that so powerful. Driven people aren't looking for attention. They're too busy building. So when you acknowledge their fire, it means everything, especially to a woman who's constantly told to settle down, to slow down, to fit in. When you say your purpose inspires me, you're not just boosting her confidence. You're becoming part of her vision. Now, let's talk Stoicism. The Stoic man understands that life is short and wasted time is the greatest loss. He doesn't wait around for success to land in his lap. He wakes up every day with intention, just like her. So when you recognize her ambition, you're not just seeing a goal chaser. You're seeing a kindred spirit. And in a world full of distractions and people who quit halfway, you're telling her you're rare, you're focused, and I respect the hell out of that. And that's a compliment that doesn't fade because it touches something far deeper than appearance. It honors her mission. Compliment number 8, you have this incredible way of making people feel comfortable and truly valued. Let's talk about something truly powerful. Emotional intelligence, that quiet superpower that can't be faked. The ability to make someone feel seen, safe, and appreciated just by being around you. Some people walk into a room and command attention, but a rare few walk in and create connection. When you tell a woman you make people feel truly valued, you're speaking to her soul, because that's not about appearance. That's not about charm. That's about presence. She doesn't need to say much. She doesn't need to perform. She simply is. And others feel better because of it. That is a gift. And when you recognize that, you're not just complimenting her social skills, you're honoring her ability to heal, to connect, to make others feel like they matter in a world where most people feel invisible. Now, here's the brutal truth. Most people don't know how to hold space for others. They're too caught up in their own insecurities, too busy proving something to offer real support. But her, she's different. She feels people. She adapts. She listens. She lifts. And when you say you have this incredible way of making others feel comfortable, you're telling her your presence is medicine. From a Stoic perspective, this is one of the highest virtues. The Stoics taught us to live with empathy, presence, and purpose, to connect with others without judgment, to understand before we speak. And when you compliment a woman for being emotionally intelligent, you're acknowledging something that's becoming increasingly rare, Grace, and that is unforgettable. And there you have it. 8 powerful compliments that go way beyond surface level flattery. These aren't just lines. They're bridges to a deeper connection, mutual respect, and unforgettable chemistry. Because a woman might forget what you said, but she will never forget how you made her feel. If you found these compliments powerful, wait until you see the next level. Click on the video now popping up on your screen. No woman can ignore these 7 good morning texts. Trust me, you do not want to miss this one. And don't forget to subscribe, and drop a comment below. Type words have power, and I know how to use them. Lock it in. Let's see who's really paying attention, because we're not here to be average. We're here to master connection, one intentional word at a time.